Welcome back to Daily Dive, the only live, remember that, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. This is Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, January 28, 2026, and this show begins now. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to this awesome show. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. So we appreciate you tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already for other great content besides lacrosse. We have awesome college sports that have been airing. So we appreciate the good people at the Natter. On today's awesome show, I'm going to first talk about fighting in box lacrosse and how far is too far. Like, where are we going to draw the line as fans and even as media? Then I'll talk about my narrative for week 10 and why that comes up today and not tomorrow. And finally, we'll get to my NLL Power Rankings following week number 9. Before we get started, this show is presented by the NLL merch that has been found at natalkradio.us/NLL. You can get Toronto Rock hoodie, Christian Del Bianco player name shirt, and more. So we appreciate you if you do want to rep your team or your favorite player. Okay, I'm going to be honest with something here, folks, because this is like an off-schedule thing, but I want to clearly air on something, and I honestly don't care at this point about who says I'm being professional, because so many times on this show, I'm being told I'm not this, I'm not that, I need to do better with this. Okay. You're like, Michael, what are you talking about? Okay, so before the show started, I help run our social media and things like that. Occasionally you make a typo, right? And so this is going to be, I want you guys to follow along here, right? Because every time I make a mistake, you got old heads in lacrosse, and I don't care about calling them that because that's what they are. Like, you peaked in the least popular sport, okay? It may not be your fault it's the least popular, but that's where you're at right now. And I find it very annoying when me calling out people like, remember when the Seals game happened and San Diego was spelled wrong with like a 3-4 question marks? Folks, I called that out because that individual, I don't care if they apologize or not, that individual had one job on linear television and messed it up and added 3 or 4 question marks afterwards, all right? They let that happen. They let the graphics show, not me. This show, I know, does not get paid. Folks, Steve Govitz, who is so respected, that never comments on anything I do, never says a word on anything that I do. And suddenly, we have an awesome segment called Greggy's Grinder, where Pat Gregoire takes time out of his day to help us overreact to the NLL games and give us a Greggy's Grinder. I spell it wrong. Folks, you can edit an Instagram post. I put grinder instead of grinder, okay? I am not paid for a linear television job. I know, crazy, right? There is a difference from me saying, hey, this is unacceptable because you have I am not held to that standard. That's not this notion that a 29-year-old from Georgia who is doing this crap for free has to worry about it is ridiculous, all right? So I find it funny when people who have names in the sport like to just moan and complain when I do something wrong. But they hate it when I criticize the league they love for basically airballing half of the promos they do. How am I supposed to feel? All right? I don't care who you think you are. If your only comment on any of my posts ever is to complain and try to clap back at me as if that has anything to do with anything I've ever said, you are part of the problem. And I don't care who you are. Me criticizing a linear television broadcast for absolutely doing something wrong and showing it to the public and getting paid to do so is not the same as what I'm doing. Stop pretending it is. Again, this guy's only comment on my post is to clap back and hate on me. You want to know why I don't get sponsors? Because people like that who have a platform in lacrosse do their best to tear me down. Maybe we should all just let lacrosse do whatever the heck they want. It's worked for the last 30 years, hasn't it? Right? It's worked. You guys all have great, we're all millionaires, right? We're not. Why? Because people like you exist. Stop it, man. It's so stupid. Me criticizing people getting paid to put stuff on linear television is not the same as what I do manning almost everything we do here at Daily Dive voluntarily for your league. Stop it. All of these guys on the platform, they think they're so mighty. They think Michael, nah. Why don't you put your crap into context, buddy? Why don't you give your crappy trading cards to another podcast? I'm tired of doing these social media wars, all right? I'm tired of it. We got to stop this. So I'll say it on the show, and I'm not responding to anybody else when they ask me about it. It's not happening. These guys, they want to tear us down. They don't want anything to grow besides their crappy brands, all right? Come on, man. Quit doing that stuff. Now let's get into our first segment here, all right? So, fighting in box lacrosse, it's ironic I'm doing this segment now. I just wonder when we're going to draw the line. And I'm not saying it's a major problem yet, because it's not. But I noticed that, hear me out on this. We got, so Elijah Gash with Zach Belcher, that was cinema, made its rounds on social media. The goalie fight with Nick Damoud and Rylan Hartley, also pretty cool. Then you see Halifax lose their minds against Oshawa. You see Georgia stomping Calgary and Edmonton, and suddenly Calgary has to start fights for absolutely no reason other than we're not doing well, so we have to fight now. And I think it all comes to a weird head when Lacrosse Network, with their 700,000 followers on Instagram, they do this, they post what was a play fight with kids in box lacrosse. I don't know where it was. The reason I bring this up is because when you have a media platform like Lacrosse Network does, they're posting that purely for clicks, obviously. But I find it very disappointing because they know half of the people who comment think the kids are actually fighting. They know, just like sex, that violence sells. All right? And I'm not saying fighting should be out of box lacrosse. I kind of actually like it where if guys are going back and forth and they can't stand each other, throw the fist until one of them hits the ground and it's over, or they get tangled, whatever, and the ref stops it. I don't mind that. What I do mind is acting like that's what we have to do. And again, the kid video aside, it's like, at what point does professionalism take over? At what point do you learn from a loss instead of fighting your opponent because they're kicking you by 5 or more goals? At what point do we chill out on that? Because I don't even know if hockey players I don't think do that. No other sports in the world or no other professional league that I've seen, like the team is getting blown out and they have to start throwing punches. I don't understand why we've kind of made that a norm in box lacrosse. And I'm not indigenous, but my understanding of the creators game is that it heals. And I don't know how we're teaching healing by throwing fists when we're down by 5 or more. Now, granted, again, it's not an issue yet. I just thought Lacrosse Network kids videos, like, okay, like, I don't mind posting it, but acting like it's real because you know half the fan base is going to think it's real and get upset about it, it's a little bit in poor taste. I mean, it's up to them. I'm not going to scrutinize, but I just think it's a little bit odd. Because think about the awesome things about box lacrosse that we can do. Think about it. We've got awesome saves by Del Bianco, Zach Higgins, Giuliano, all kind of guys. Pretty goals by Zach Mans and Jeff Teat and Curtis Dixon and Wesley. So many great goals. Larson Sundown with his behind the goal dunks. You've got great passing from Jeff Teat, Alex Simmons, and other guys like that. From Mark Matthews, the mailman. Big hits from Drew Belgrave, where he lays the shoulder into, what was it, Michael Sowers, and the guy pops up, but it's a big hit. Blocking shots point blank like Owen Grant and Paul Dawson. We have comebacks like Toronto against Rochester. We have three-peats like Buffalo and Legacies. We've got ref controversy like Toronto versus Rochester. Upsets. It just goes on and on and on. Again, I don't think it's an issue yet. I'm just hoping we don't promote this stuff too much. Because I feel like, again, if you're telling fans, look what you see, it's almost like you're giving us, like, players incentive to do that. I'm not saying they are feeling that way. I just hope that we take, like, the fighting moments are awesome when they're, like, when the goalie fight happens, when it's a whole brawl in a close, well, it was a close game for a minute, it blew open. When you have the Elijah Gash thing in a heated rivalry with Buffalo. Well, heated rivalry is another thing, and I'll get to that in my creating the narrative segment. I just feel like, again, sharing the kids fighting for fun was a little bit weird to me, but let's make sure we are not embracing fighting just because it sells. Let's embrace the fighting when it means something, because I think Toronto Buffalo, I think the Elijah Gash thing meant more because of that rivalry, and more people were incentivized to share it, not just because the guy was KO'd, because it all brewed up to that moment. So I like that stuff. That's, wow. Oh, no, and I'm okay with, like, mistakes happening. I just, go back to my first point. I don't like when people that have big names in the sport do not comment on anything else unless, like, oh, you have a typo on Instagram. Like, bro, that is nowhere near the equivalent of a linear television person clearly being frustrated and then them showing that graphic. I don't think that's a fair comparison. And I can admit when I make mistakes, but again, if your whole comment towards me your entire lifetime is, oh, look at this guy, Mr. Hine, nah, because you're starting a debate and an argument over something that doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't compare. This is all, it's all volunteer and free for me. Like, suck it up, dude. Grow up, buddy. Like, I know you don't like the show, but if that's what we're going to do to start the conversation, I reached out to TFL trading cards. No response. But now you're going to publicly tear me down. It's odd. It's negative energy, and my energy is geared towards making the sport better, not tearing a dude trying to make the sport better, not tearing that guy down. Like, I think we're doing two different things here. Our motives are different. When I criticize a broadcast, I want the league to understand why that's not acceptable. I'm not trying to say, oh, the league should burn to the ground. No, we're different people here. All right, next up, let's do creating the narrative. There are 7 games in week 10. I'm very excited for this. And why are we doing it on Wednesday, not Thursday? I'll explain after the break.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
BetUS and North American Talk Radio have partnered to bring you the preferred betting platform in the United States, and you will get a deposit bonus of up to 150% if you use promo code 120Z. Take it from me, I'm a cowboy and a gambler. I wrangle my bets on BetUS, and I use the promo code 120Z to get free money. Yee-haw! That's BetUS and promo code 120Z. Now giddy up.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, thanking you, the NLL fan, for tuning in. And one more thing I will add, because, again, to provide more context here, I also very many times praise the NLL, like the last segment, for being an awesome sport. So it's not just me criticizing and trying to make it better. It's me trying to give the flowers. The problem is when people do it to me and tear me down, it's never, you're doing a great job. It is always the cheap shots because they're mad at me criticizing. It doesn't compare. Like, there, in no form of society does that compare if you only tear down and never build up. I always try to promote the heck out of this league. That's the difference here. Let's move on to the narrative for week number 10. So tomorrow, I will not be here. Captain is actually hosting the show tomorrow. So I will not be able to do my Creating the Narrative segment tomorrow, which is why I'm doing it today. So let's do that now. And again, thank you for Captain. We'll explain more. I'm on social media at Daily Dive LAX when the information becomes available. We thank Captain for all the hard work that he does. We really appreciate him. All right, so 7 games this weekend. The first one starts very early on Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern on TSN. Saskatchewan Rush at the Calgary Roughnecks. I love the fact that once again the Rush posted a graphic of the face-off battle. This time it's Naso versus Ignacio. We're talking Justin versus Jake here. It's also a rematch of a close game where the Rush led the season opener 10-5 in Saskatchewan, but that game then was tied 13-13, and the Rush pulled away 16-13. But I'm wondering, can the Rush keep rolling? It feels like if the first 3 quarters of that game are in any indication, the Rush are going to keep on trucking here. But make no mistake, Roughnecks have been no pushover despite losing a lot of games. At 10:30 on Friday night, this is Eastern time as well, if you can stay up, it's also another rematch of just last week's game. Remember, when the Wings led this game like 5-1 at halftime, and the Seals came marching and kept on being awesome. I believe in back-to-back games, the Seals offense has not looked great. And in this game, we're going to see Brandon O'Neill, a couple of them nice young American players, Brandon O'Neill and Pat Cavanaugh, respectively, for their teams. Also, is Chris Riglieri going to have now 3 great games in a row? He played great against Vancouver, great against Philadelphia to help them get the win, and now in the rematch against the Wings, can he be awesome again? And also remember this, the late game stuff in San Diego is always electric, especially with Cooper Perkins on the call. I'm wondering if Nick Ocello is joining him again this week. We'll have to see. Next up, Saturday, once again in Halifax, the games get going early on Saturday at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. New look Halifax. No Dawson Feed. Stephen Keogh should be playing. I want to see what they do with Will McLeod, Mike Robinson, and Jason Knox. That'll be fun. And also, is Lyle Thompson catching fire for Georgia? In the last couple of games, in Edmonton against Calgary, Lyle had a great game. Against Toronto, great fourth quarter and overtime. How does he keep playing well? I'm telling you guys right now, I think Lyle Thompson's finally getting healthy. I think he was a little bit banged up somehow. I think he's going to keep on getting better. This game could be the first game doing that. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But a breakout Lyle Thompson game is coming. Also, our very early part of the season, we had a Brett Dobson or Warren Hill for goalie of the year. I'm telling you right now, folks, Brett Dobson's pulled away. But can these guys lock it down again? We will have to see. Next up, we're going to go to the doubleheader at 7 o'clock. It's Vancouver-Rochester and then Ottawa-Toronto. For the Warriors against the Nighthawks, can Vancouver flex again versus what seems to be a lesser opponent? I know the Nighthawks have a 4-2 record. I love Rochester, and Vancouver was my preseason champion. That being said, Vancouver's supposed to be a step above. Can they flex? And it's another chance for Rochester to gain confidence against the elite teams. Earlier this season, I told you guys, if Rochester could play well against Saskatchewan, Vancouver, and Buffalo in the regular season, I feel like they would have a great chance in the playoffs, not just for my sake, for their confidence sake. Now, they've already beaten Buffalo. Can they beat Vancouver? We'll have to see. And if they don't, can they be right there instead of being visibly pushed around? That next game at 7 o'clock, the Black Bears against the Toronto Rock. It's another battle for Ontario. Jeff Teat is having a really good season with Rob Hellier. Can the Black Bears bounce back after a loss against Vancouver in a game where they were not great in the fourth quarter for the first time in quite some time? Toronto, can Troy Holochuk shut down the fort again? He played very well against Georgia until the end. I'm wondering how the Rock look. But it's another episode in these battles for Ontario. I still don't know what we're calling that yet. At 9 o'clock Eastern Saturday night, the Buffalo Bandits take on the Colorado Mammoth in the Loud House in Ball Arena. Reminder, the Mammoth last week had a game on Saturday where they had 8,500 fans show up. The next day, I'm sure a lot of them also went to the Broncos AFC Championship game. And now the Broncos season is over. It looks like we're going to see the fans really show up in a big way, because I know Mammoth fans always do. But I'm wondering, is this still a rivalry? We know that Mammoth beat the Bandits in the finals a few years ago, the year before the three-peat happened. But a couple of things here. If Colorado wins, are we going to start really thinking that Buffalo is not as powerful as they were? It certainly feels like that. And also, low key here, Colorado's supposed to win, right? It'll be interesting if Buffalo suddenly pulls off an upset. Haven't heard those words in probably 5 years. Oshawa Firewolves, Las Vegas Desert Dogs at 10 o'clock Eastern. It's the last chance for Oshawa to really show any signs of life this year. They are 2-6 once again. They have fired their defensive coach. This is also a prove-it spot for Vegas on a Gretzky jersey night. Very interesting stuff here. I'm excited to see how this game plays out. I think Oshawa still has a chance. Vegas, though, might prove me wrong. All right, folks, when we come back to this awesome show, let's talk about my power rankings for heading into week 10, following week number 9. You know, for a 4-game slate, I did learn quite a bit. Interesting. We'll be right back, Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. The final segment is next.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. You are watching the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talks on the planet. It is Wednesday, January 28, 2026. Reminder, you can get NLL merchandise that is found at natalkradio.us/NLL, including awesome hoodies and player name shirts. You don't want to miss it. All right there at natalkradio.us/NLL. Some really good comments here. Fire Sawyer, welcome back, Nico Trike. Great point by Murph here. I'm so glad he commented this, because when I was calling it the Battle for Ontario, in the back of my brain, I was like, what did Pat call it? The Trillium Cup. That is a great name. It's just, I know it's their flower, even if it's not the flower, that just sounds like, I don't care if it was like the toilets. That is such a cool name. Trillium. Great stuff. I want one of those Gretzky. They look nice. Those jerseys do look nice. Oh, so Mr. Old Senor Siete Siete, Tim Dillon, Senor Mucha, Lucha, all kind of good stuff. The Leche King himself. Love that. All the good stuff there. He should be back next week. He's actually a college lacrosse player, believe it or not. So the kid knows his stuff. We're hoping to have him back next week. I have been in contact with him. He would hope to come on this week. I told him it probably wouldn't work out, so we're doing next week, and I'm very excited. All right, so now let's get in. Sing your sweet Latin sounding word for 3. Great. Ooh, good job there. All right, now let's get into this NLL Power Rankings, week number 9, going to week 10. Here's 9 through 14, and I know people are going to be like, why is Las Vegas not moving up? Why is San Diego not moving up? Why is Oshawa stuck at 10? Who did Oshawa lose to? Who did San Diego beat? There's your answer. Losing to Colorado, who you'll see is very high. on not just everyone else's ranks, but mine too. I can't. You guys were right there with them. They kept you at arm's length, but you were competitive. The Seals beat the Wings, and they had to come back. I don't know what to tell the Seals right now. They've got to have better wins than just the Wings. I know they beat the Warriors. Everyone's got a good win this year. Las Vegas against Oshawa this weekend. Very intriguing, at least for me. Finally, my 1 through 8. There you have it. I've got the Swarm marching back up to number 8. Even though they beat the Rock, the Rock were number 5 for me. So I couldn't put them above them yet, but that should be loading very soon. Rock did fall to 7. Halifax moves up to 6 by sitting around and watching the games. Vancouver moves up to 5. They did have a good win against Ottawa. I'm still not sold on Ottawa as that next tier team yet, but Vancouver deserves their credit. Buffalo State put it 4. Rochester fell to 3 because Colorado beat a competitive team, even though Oshawa's 2-6. Colorado looks very complete. I have to admit that, and I think the Rush are cream of the crop right now. There's a lot of we could learn a lot this week. This is why I love the week-to-week NLL. It is what it is, man. But yeah, it's good stuff there. I mean, if you can just, it's literally in our Instagram bio, actually, who that person is. Can't know where the Bat Cave is. I love that. Oh, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know some of you may have seen my rant on Steve Gutt. I don't even want to keep on harping on that. Instead of doing stuff on social media, I'm just going to do it on the show. Like, I said what I said. If I've reached out to you and you've never responded, and then the one time you respond is a public reply, you were tearing me down, and come on, man. Like, me criticizing the league for doing stuff they're paid to do, I feel like is a little bit different, considering, like, 70% of the time I'm also trying to hype the league up, too. Like, I don't know what it is. So, thanks for tuning in, folks. Tomorrow, Captain will be the captain of the show, actually, which is good. But thank you for tuning in. Again, if you got from the Steve Government part, good for you. I feel like I didn't say anything too crazy, but it's how I felt. And I'm also hungry, so I don't know if I was hangry. I'm not taking it back. It is what it is. Thank you, Captain. We'll see you tomorrow. And also, we'll let you know what the show list is for tomorrow. I cannot wait to watch that, actually. I'll be in the passenger seat. Not even. I'll have to watch the replay, honestly. So, Captain, thank you, sir. And I'll be back Friday, but doing that for turn tomorrow. That's a lot of talking. Thanks, guys. Bye.